Alright, guys. Looks like we're live. Welcome back to Security Check. Again, my name is Rob, aka Sakabato over here. And we have for today's guests, Juan. Juan is back over here. And Tony is also back here. And then we actually have one of our new guests over here, Pete, if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Hey everybody, my name is Pete Navarro. I play Digimon, and they invited me on here, so...
Yeah.
I recognize that name.
Well, Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people know me from Yu-Gi-Oh! So.
Yeah, yes. We go back to Frank's days.
The best days.
Yeah, I used to buy quite a bit from you. So, nice to have him. Isn't that this? You didn't say you had a special guest, Rob. You just said you had someone giving you the channel.
You're giving me too much credit. I don't have special at all. Not even.
You have a pretty creative brain when it comes to deck building and all that stuff. So it's I know a little bit about your history, more than you. So, all right, welcome to the channel again. I'm not the lead or anything, Rob. I'm pretty letting you host, but next time let the people know when you have a special guest, not just a random person. So continue.
Yeah, that's true. My bad. We do have a special guest over here, So we're gonna be going quickly over to starting with our, especially since store tournaments have just passed within a couple of weeks that we had Security Check. What decks we played, what in-store championships you guys played in, and how your games. So Juan, if you want to start out, let me start pulling up the deck list for all of us.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I don't know if. Yeah, we can jump into it. I just don't know if Pete wanted to further introduce him. Sorry, I felt like I just cut him off. I'm sorry.
You guys want? What do you guys want me to talk about? I mean, I could. Is it just Digimon related, or do I just kind of mention my whole history? Apparently.
Actually, yeah. If you want to mention some of your stuff real quick, then it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'll make it a little easier. So, kind of talk about other cards you play, and then why you started playing Digimon, and what deck you're playing now, and why you enjoy it.
Okay. So I guess the best way to put it is I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively for like more than 15 years. So it's kind of how I kind of broadened my horizons into all these other types of card games. I've pretty much played everything you can think of, like Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played Pokemon, I've played Magic, I played Chaotic. Even the My Little Pony game, that was a game, I know, right? And Digimon, something I always kind of liked when I was younger anyways, so it kind of, when they did have a party game that you can actually play and understand, I was kind of all for it, so I was kind of glad to start collecting and stuff like that. So that's kind of like my big reason for doing it. I guess local things, as well, I mentioned earlier, is I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For years. I came in third place in YCS San Jose. I have multiple YCS tops, and I also have I remember all the background. I came in 22nd at Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals for 2015. I topped multiple regionals, and then for Plant, Quick Draw Plant? I was
Quick Draw
Yeah, they call it Dandy Warrior back then, but it was actually I actually made that deck originally, and that's kind of what started the trend before Edison. So, and I do have the regionals and proof of all that to prove that.
Nice, yeah.
So what you guys created, this guy's not some random that you find on the street.
I mean, people think I'm random. I guess that's how it works.
No, Rob thinks you're random, and that's a lot of disrespect. Everyone else knows who you are, so if you want to throw shade at everyone, throw it at Mr. Sakabato over here. All right, so
yeah, and I'm sorry, what happened?
No, I was saying plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh! Accolades. Obviously, it's quite apparent that you're a very good card game player.
Yeah, so, I enjoy card games a lot. It's a good thing. I don't play them as much as I used to, mainly because I'm in school right now, so I'm kind of occupied with that. Okay. And I also, as Juan mentioned, I'm a vendor. I actually have a storefront in business and stuff like that. Not a backpack vendor, but I actually have, a brick and mortar. I have a website. I have all that stuff. So. Yeah, so I've been doing that for about more than 10 years. That was actually my only job for 10 years, so I can say I made a living off of it. But for the most part, that's kind of what involved me in the community. That's actually probably how I know most of the players that I know today. I really enjoyed it, actually, for the most part, and I just focus more on school now. That's kind of been my big thing, but Digimon's kind of been that new type of escape lately. I like the card game a lot. I grew up with it, of course, watching the animations and stuff like that of it, and now it's kind of nice to actually play with those cards and then understand how the game is played. Because I used to collect the old ones. I actually really liked the old card game, but I didn't play it at all. Yeah.
That's the only way. To be honest, even if you knew how to play the old game, I played the old game at the time. I played both of them, the Detector ones and the original card games that the EX set's based off of.
Oh, okay.
And the old game's rule set was actually incomplete for the North American release. So my friends and I just kind of try to, I guess, compensate for like how we would interpret certain situations. And all at the same time, we're still young and there wasn't a lot of support, but it was just like you're missing Digivolutions effects and it made sense. But we're like, you know what, we like this so much. Let's just make some rule to fix this game, and we kind of played it that way.
That's pretty legit. I'm glad though. I mean, like I said, the cards are still. I think they're still pretty pricey even now for certain ones, but they actually look, still pretty cool. And I'm glad that their Bandai is actually incorporating the original card arts and original stuff from the video games and stuff into it. I thought that was pretty neat.
Like that.
Digital Boy coming out next set. I'm excited for that guy. So.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Sorry. Yeah. I should have mentioned that first. We should have done that, but let's continue. Let's get our deck list done. One, if you want to go talk about.
I'll pull the video up and I'll sort of break it down, and I'll make it very brief because people don't want to hear this stuff. Obviously, because I'm playing a super sick deck, so maybe some people might like it, others might not. In this channel, I don't know why people hate me so much, but the point is, I have a weekly deck, and whenever you have it pulled up, I can go ahead and talk about it.
Yep, it's pulled up.
It's pulled up? Is there any way I can see it?
You forget your own deck list? Come on, man.
Okay, I have the deck here, actually. Let me just pull out the deck. And you can see what I was running, huh? Oh, it's not even in order. Okay, I'll tell you what I run from the deck, and we'll just go off. So, I have, in the rookie lineup, if you have the thing blown up, I should be playing a 4/4 with the blue command and the gold that give you a memory when trashing a sword, right? And I'm playing 3 Syakomons, the shell, and 1 Gabumon. And so this is the theory behind. Okay, so I'm playing Hexablau for those of you who can't see the deck list like me, right? I essentially try to build this deck just to be yellow, and in doing so, when I was testing Discord, on the Digimon Discord, I had a pretty good win ratio. Like, I was winning quite a bit. Obviously the most consistent deck in the meta. Now, there are some yellow builds, like some Lordknightmon decks that are more potent than the others, but that also comes with, like, knowing how... So I played the 4 Glucomon, 4 Gomamon, because the memory from those Digimon are huge in allowing you to extend your plays, right? I'm maxing out Sorenjos, and oftentimes once you have 1 or 2 tamers on board, you're starting your turn with 5 memory. Compile that with the Gomamons and the Blucomons, you're able to sort of build other towers, and that's how Hexablau sort of swarms, because effectively one Hexablau tries to stay alive. If it does, and you strip everything naked on your opponent's side of the board and they can't attack or block, you also build enough memory to be able to build another stack. And once your opponent gets rid of their first Hexablau, then you kind of build off of another. And but just going back to the rookie, so I play that rookie lineup because that Digisword, the trashing the swords, gaining the memory is very relevant. It helps extend plays. And I'm playing 3 Syakomon because a weakness of the deck are sometimes very hyper-aggressive aggro decks, like Imperial Dramon. And in fact, I played Imperial Dramon in the Evo Cup this past weekend. And ironically enough, though, it bought me a turn and forced my opponent to Digivolve into Imperial Dramon for a 5 cost because they can't reduce the Digivolution cost. My opponent was surprised to be like, oh wow, I didn't know it stopped Imperial Dramon. but he also played the card too. I'm like, wait a minute, how did that know? He's like, all right, I was playing it for purple Lilith loop, and I go, yeah, I played for that as well. And he goes, but I didn't know it stopped in Digimon. I go, oh, it stops at Digimon. That deck, very hyper aggressive decks are sort of like soft counters to Hexablau, and so for that reason, I played the three clams. And the clam slams, it wins me a lot of games when it's relevant in the matchup. And it won me quite a bit of Lilith matchups as well. Obviously, they have Lady Devimon to answer it, but they can't answer multiple efficiently. And generally speaking, you kind of have a pretty good Lilith matchup because of the Sora and Joes. You're starting with a bunch of memory most of the time.
Okay.
And but anyway, so that's the rookie later. The one Gabumon should have been a Syakumon, but I figured, I'll keep. And if you notice, I'm only playing 12 rookies. And the reason why I'm playing 12 is because I wanted to have a good Rookie Rush matchup. Hexablau does pretty good against Rookie Rush already, from its own effect, unless they pop it. They only have one Alto, which is Spiral Masquerade. But by having a low rookie count, it increases the chances of their rookies dying against my security checks. Because I have the 12 rookies and like the 2 Tobiomons, right? So it'll only survive against those 14 cards. But if it hits anything else, it'll die, or it'll give me a Tamer, or Hammer Spark. And it'll let me it'll shift tempo towards my direction. Because Rookie Rush again... Oh, go ahead.
No. The thing is, but what about, like, just in general? That's interesting that you're talking about that. Because most of the time, Yellow-Green Rookie Rush is actually going to just build a wide board before they actually swing in. They just kill you in one turn.
They don't kill you. Oh, go ahead.
They can chip you. Yeah, they can chip you, but like I've seen most Rookie Rush players just like build like a whole board, wait until they can get the spirals, and then just kill you on the swing back. Once you have no more boards left.
Well, the thing is, Rookie Rush does well when it can memory choke you. So a vital play against any Rookie Rush deck is to play a Tamer early. So they can't do it. And so, like in one game against one of my opponents, I actually hard casted the Hexablau for 12. I started off with 5 memory because I had 2 Tamers. I hard casted the Hexablau, and he only could attack with the Chururimon and the rookie that had the egg under it. And essentially, I was making a gamble, saying he has to have Spiral Masquerade or he loses. Because on my next turn, I have Ulforce, and I'm going to have 2 Tamers, 2 Sora and Joe, so I'm going to attack for game with +1 security. And I stole that game, yes, I did, but it's also knowing the fact that they only have, like, you can't use Rookie Rush oftentimes. Like, Rookie Rush kills you in 4 turns. That's the way the deck works. If you don't have a blocker, or you don't have ways to get rid of it, or stop them from attacking, you will lose. But even more so if you don't have memory to work with. So, they can build wide, but a lot of times they could also be swinging to keep up tempo, because once you hit 7k with your Digimon, you could kind of swing away at their security without worrying about retaliation of them running you over, unless they like play Starmons and then attack over the ultimate. But it's the game normally matchup is to have board control. If you can't control the board, stop them from attacking. If you can't stop them from attacking, then you're usually going to lose that matchup anyway. But one thing that does lose me a lot when I summon with some of my other decks is when they survive the security checks. When they swing for 5 kills and they survive, then I just it puts a lot of pressure on you to answer them, and then by answering them, they answer your dudes back, and then they'll win that exchange most of the time if you have limited memory. But it's not an easy matchup, but it's definitely not a bad matchup for Hexablau. So, but that's why I play the small rookie count, and I increase. So I'll go into like the champion lineup, right? And the champion lineup, I feel like, is where I could. I have 2 Tobiomons, which is a card that, looking back, I played because they're effectively the 13th and the 14th rookie. I don't mind hard casting that a lot. But against some decks, if I had left it out there, it will get deleted pretty quickly. So that's a card I may switch out. I played 3 Paledramons, because 3 Paledramons, it's a Hexablau, so you're trying to strip everything naked ASAP. That's how you get value from Soaring Joes, and that's how you sort of lock into Hexablau. So that's a kind of easy giveaway. And I play 4 Sealamons and 2 Lobomons, right? You're looking at the deck. I don't have the deck list in front of me, but that's what I think I had at the time.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Sealamon's a blocker. I think I would replace Tobiamon with, because though I think Hexablau has good matchup spreads overall, this version of it, this build, has a horrific matchup against Shoutmon. And I kind of tell myself, if I run to Shoutmon, it's an option to me, because they have these big towers that I can't strip completely naked fast enough. And a lot of times, because they have this big tower, you're not gaining value from Soaring Joes like you would from Yellow or from some like Security Control. Like other decks that just have naked Digimons on board give you a lot of value with Soaring Joe. But with Shoutmon, you don't, because they just make this giant tower. And then, like, you can always attack Hexablau, whether it's suspended or not. And that's just, they'll always pop your blockers, I don't play any Grizzlymons. So they'll pop the Sealamons, they'll always attack over Hexablau, and then they'll just effectively just, win in a couple of turns. But I was willing to give up that matchup to improve matchup for like Security Control, Lilith Loop, and Yellow, because those are the decks that I kind of feel like are more popular. And ironically enough, I ran into so many Shoutmon decks out of nowhere, and I'm like, how are you guys Shoutmon, even though it's a good, but I'll probably swap the Tobiamons for the Grizzmons. For Ultimates, I play 4 Chris Paledramons, 2 AoiZeros, and 3 Zudomons. And the kicker there is a Zudomon. And the reason why I play 3 Zudomons is one of the Hexablau's biggest weakness of a deck, as opposed to like Shoutmon or Crusadermon or Lordknightmon, is that Lordknightmon and Shoutmon are very consistent decks in that they can find the pieces they want relatively quickly. Like, let's just talk about Lordknightmon real quick. You have the TK, you have Codemon, you have Pulsemons. You have so many ways to like find the cards that you want at any given time. You even have Gladymon, right? Some people don't play, but it's not a bad card either. It's a consistent card. Hexablau generally doesn't have consistent cards. It has like Groupamon, Gabumon, and Davis. And those aren't enough to find, because you need Hexablau pretty early. And one of the best ways to do that is just by hard casting Zudomon turn 1. Very few decks can destroy it easily on their first turns, and it fixes your hand. So if they do delete the Zudomon, your hand at this point is probably fixed. You got the rookie you want, you got the optimal champion, the optimal ultimate, you got the tamer, and you kind of just go from there. And if they don't kill the Zudomon, which happens a lot unless you're playing against purple, because they could just Chimeramon it with any other Digimon, then you're able to go into Hexablau, into Ulforce, and kind of start putting pressure early on that. So it's literally the card that I wanted to play to fix Hexablau's biggest weakness, which is breaking, right? For that reason, you don't see me playing 2-cost Digimon, 2-cost rookies, because those 2-cost rookies, while they're good, they don't fix the consistent issue that Hexablau has, right? You're not trying to swing with those 2-cost rookies, you're trying to swing with your Premier Ultimate, or Mega, I mean. So, and the AoiZero, it's a 2-up because 1, it's good with Ulforce, which is my secondary Mega, but 2, it has just a busted combo with Hexablau. Like, if Hexablau swings for 2 securities, assuming you have the plus 100, and you have like another like champion, like a Sealamon or whatever, you can just Digivolve that into AoiZero. You have a lot of time, a bunch of memory to work with. Unsuspend your Hexablau, swing again for 2 more securities, and swing again with AoiZero. And you could sometimes just clear your opponent's stack very quickly, and they can't block it because of Hexablau's effect. So I've stolen quite a bit of games from that combo alone. And yeah, AoiZero's unsuspending ability is just very, very underrated, very good. Its inherited is also very strong too. So that's that lineup. And then for Megas, it's obvious I'm playing the Hexablau deck, so I'm maxing out on him. I'm playing 3 Ulforces, because Ulforce is also very good. It's also very good against like the Rookie Rush matchup for me, generally I think everyone that knows Ulforce kind of knows what it does and why it's good. In this particular deck, there's a I play 3 BT1 Omnimons, and the combo is usually 5 memory and Ulforce, which is obviously not the easiest. If you have 5 memory starting with at least 2 Tamers and you have Ulforce in the back, You attack with Ulforce, suspend a Tamer, unsuspend Ulforce. You'll gain a memory, so you'll have 6 memory. And depending on how many Tamers you have, you can just keep attacking, but ensure that Ulforce is unsuspended. You Digivolve that into BT1 Omnimon for 6. It's still your turn. You pop a card, and you swing 2 more times with the Omnimon. And if you have a Zudomon under this, Zudomon's inherited ability is not once per turn. So you're just gaining memory each time you attack with this guy. And you know, Omnimon, BT1 Omnimon is very underrated. It punishes a lot of people that don't respect it. Because when people play Hexablau, I think they expect the Blitz Omni, which is reasonable. Blitz Omni is also very good. But I won a lot of games because 2 Lady Devimons out there, 2 Lordknightmons out there. They're kind of thinking, yeah, my opponent's not going to answer this. And you just kind of Omnimon, kill 2 of them. And it's a very good card. And I played like 6 Tamers, 4 Sorangos, 1 Davis, and 1 Matt. And the one I will probably just talk about is the Matt, because I think everyone knows how the other ones do, and they're kind of wondering why a second Davis. Matt effectively, like with the rookies that give you a memory when trashing a source, reduces the play cost of those cards that you know that you want to play. So if I have at least like 1 Blucomon, for example, and I play a card while I have Matt out, like any rookie that I raw dog or not raw dog, that hard cast for 3 becomes a 2 cost, and Tobiumon becomes a 2 cost champion. And let's say I have 2 of those, like a combination of a Gomamon, and I could hard cast a Zudomon for effectively 5 memory and draw 2 cards. So that Matt is another underrated card. It has a lot of utility, but it's not game breaking enough to play more than 1. I think Davis overall, just that consistency is still preferred, but the Matt lets you extend your plays even further, and that's kind of a very cool thing to do. So you have that, and then you have the 2 Hammer Sparks. Hammer Sparks are kind of self-explanatory. I don't play 4 because you rely on the Zudomon, the Blucomon, and the Gomamon to extend your play. And you know, if you're not, like, if I were to add more Hammer Sparks, you'd probably the Tamers, but I'd rather have the Tamers in my security more than I would have Hammer Sparks. But that's the deck. At the store championships, the first one I went to, I think I went 2-2. Unfortunately, I ran into Shoutmon, and that kind of, I played Lilith Loop, and then I won the first game convincingly. The second game, my Omnimon like 2 Lady Devimons, and then my Omnimon checked a Zwart in his security dying. And I was like, really? Like, that sucks, but okay, that's part of the game. And it had +1 security under it too. So like, Omnimon was about to check for 4 securities, and then like the first or second check it died to Zwart. Obviously I didn't have an attack buff under it, but I didn't expect Omnimon to die, but it does. And it did. And then after that, I was like, okay, that's cool. If I play my cards correctly, and then I ran into Shoutmon, and I just got so. I told people I expect to lose to Shoutmon with this deck because it's just a very. I built it to beat the other decks, but it'll lose to that deck. And then the second store championship, ironically, I had a drop because I made plans prior. And so I play against our buddy Nestor, who's playing Lordknightmon, and I win that one 2-1, and then I had a drop in the tournament. And I really wish I didn't. He built his white yellow really well, and obviously it would have been a cool, like, it would obviously not an easy win, still a really good deck, but it's a matchup that I played extensively. And so I'm very confident in playing against Lordknightmon. But anyway, I had a drop, and unfortunately I couldn't do cooler things. But I like locals and every other event I come to, I do really well with this, and I just think it's a very underrated deck. I think I've spoken too much about it, so I'm gonna just end it right there. If you have any questions about the deck, or you just tell me why I'm wrong and why it's the crappiest deck ever, just leave a comment and we'll try to respond to them as we can. But but that's the deck.
Okay.
I'll kind of leave.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It was a good deck analysis. If you guys want more content on this, Juan can probably create a video about it more in depth.
I don't want to.
But let's continue. Tony, you said you couldn't go into any, right?
No, I could not. I unfortunately they already had it like all the store tournaments when I came up to Oakland. They already had their store tournaments filled out for both places. Unfortunately, like I, was too late. I would have probably entered with Red or maybe Diaboromon or Dan Devi. Those are just the three choices I would have went with. But yeah, I know you went to the store. How'd you do in your championship?
So let me pull up my first deck list. So the first one I actually played in for the store championships, I played Security Control. I can't remember how well I think I went 3-2, only losing to Diaboromon. Because that deck actually just like straight out just board spams and you can't really do anything about it, unfortunately. And there's some techs I kind of want to try out with Security Control the next time I play it. But I did lose to that. I think I lost to a yellow deck as well. But I went 3-2 with that one. It was a 5-round. It was the one that you won, Pete. I played this deck. I think the second one, if I remember correctly, let me pull that one up. It was at Gameology, the one that Steven won. You guys might know him as True Champion Steven. I went to that store championship and I went 2-2 with Red War Greymon Tribal. I can't remember. So I know I can't remember what I won against Turbo Black Omni and then I won against Security Control. I lost to Diaboromon due to just me misplaying for one, and then I lost to Steven as well, and I think round 2 because of bricking. I saw zero rookies that whole game, even though I'm playing 14. But that happens, that happens. But I feel like exactly.
But most of the time, when you have 14 rookies, Rob, it's like that should not happen. To be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's ridiculous. Like 14 rookies is like a higher count than most decks, and they see their rookies.
Yeah, I think 13 or 14. Oh, actually 13, but still, it's still a good amount, right? But I mean that happens. So I lost to Steven just by breaking, which is fine. The third store that's fair. The third championship, I went 1-4. It was another one at GMI. I this is your second win as well, Pete.
We'll get to that when I get to mine.
yeah, we'll get to that one when we get to yours. But like, I played Lordknightmon because I saw Pete playing Lordknightmon during the second championship I went to. I was like, I want to try this deck out. You know what? Let me see what I did. And of course, I picked up. What was it? I just went 1-4. It was just it was just me being very inexperienced with this deck because I actually haven't not played as much yellow as I used to, right? Compared to what I played in the previous sets. I played I played Shine in 1.5. I played Yellow Mastermon and BT4, and just this current set I just haven't been playing yellow. So just me being very inexperienced with it and just making a lot of misplays. And I know where my misplays were. It's just like not I bring a deck that I did not have confidence was just not a good call for my opinion, but that was a lesson that I took in. And the most recent in-store tournament, I went 3-2 with Lilith Loop. I know I won against Security Control. I lost against Security Control because unfortunately bricked with a whole bunch of. I think my first hand against Security Control was double Jax Raids, 2 Tassamons, and a Lilith. And that was pretty much unplayable against Security Control. And my second hand was what was it? It was a both of my Mega Evolution fusions that Takumi, a Matt, and a War Greymon. And I just like super bricked against both of them. It was just insanely bad how I bricked against security control, but again, that happens. This is I forgot. Yeah, I played in against this. I think who else did I lose to? I think I lost to one of my good friends, Keanu. He was playing Lordknightmon, and he was doing really well with it. But I lost against that deck is I just was not able to kind of quote unquote like turbo out to Zwarp to kind of spam the board. So. I mean, but tomorrow I also have another Store Championship that I'll be going to, and I'll probably bring this deck because this is the deck I'm probably most comfortable with. So yeah, I think that's just about it for me and my Store Championships, right? So, Pete, if you want to go ahead and start.
I don't know if you put the deck up yet, but I'll when you do, I'll start.
Yeah.
So I played Lordknightmon. I actually played like multiple store championships. I did change the deck by like 2 cards after GMI, and I played 4 tournaments altogether, and I won all 4 tournaments essentially. So I will explain, but to go over the list really quick. For the most part, it was 2 Volder Arms. I played 4 Lordknightmons. The reason why I did 2 Volder Arms is because I think 3 might be a little too much. It's a little bit cloggy, kind of back and forth. But it's a great card. To be honest, sometimes I like having it more in security than actually hard drawing it. It's really weird. But it makes a lot of players very greedy to swing at you. So when you know it's in there, more often than not, you do end up beating them because they don't know that it's there and they're expecting to have it in your hand. So they make really awkward plays around it. So I felt she was comfortable. I didn't play the Mastimon engine at all. I actually don't like Mastimon right now, only because I think 4 to evolve is a little bit too much. I think it's often too risky. I feel at the same time it's like, if I'm going to play Mastimon, I'm only either bringing out a Pulsemon or I'm going to bring out like something to recover. And most of the time, I don't want to do that. And then it kind of ends. It's a good card. I just don't personally think that build is what I want to play. My friend Kyle, he actually topped multiple events with Mastimon, so I do respect that type of deck and engine, but it wasn't for me and my playstyle with it. 4 Lordknightmons, that's the boss of the deck. That's pretty much why you play 4. The other thing is I played 2 Angemon, which a lot of players I feel like don't value this card as much. They usually play like 1. But I feel like Angemon is a good rate over multiple decks. It actually, him plus War Growl is automatically 12k, so you knock out any high top Digimon pretty much all together. It's super important that also go wide. That's kind of why you need it. And especially against like Rookie Rush, being able to War Growl, being able to slash, then be able to trigger Pikmon or any other like Digi reduce any of the DP, automatically lets you wipe out a field. And that's not including if you top it off with a Volder Arm. So it allows boards that are technically wide to like kill 3 or 4 Digimon in a single turn, and that's the reason why the slash is super important at 2. The spice that really liked to be was that I decided to play Yellow War Greymon, and the reason why Yellow War Greymon's important is for multiple reasons. For boards that are going wide, that 1 rested Digimon's in play, the War Growl can actually swing on that Digimon to delete it and restand, and that also can trigger with other cards that you play in the deck, of course. But the main thing, it's actually meant for green. Green has a tendency to go wide, and they actually really like to abuse having little rookies with blockers, especially if they have a Mimi setup. So more than often, you always want to have Greymon set up so you can delete 1 or 2 Digimon like on the attack swing and the DP reduction. So the fact that it's 6k makes it a little bit more threatening than Slash. Also, he can somewhat swing into security and maybe have a higher chance of surviving, but it just depends. But the War Grey is very like clutch, especially in the mirror match, because it also does affect Lordknightmon. It affects pseudo blockers that are trying to get in the way to block the Lord from dying. Like if you capitalize with the Star Moon, if you have an Angelwoman underneath it, it allows you to out cards at once. It also, since mid-battle you're deleting a Digimon, the DP of Lordknightmon drops, so it allows you to keep going. So there's a lot of winning options with the card. So I really liked it. It actually shined at 1. I didn't want to play more, didn't want to play less. I wouldn't play a 3rd Slash. I feel like it's for the card it needs to be. Plus, it being 11 DP is actually relevant just for certain matchups. Mm-hmm. Going into the what is it? The Ultra Ultimates. It's actually kind of unique because initially I played 2 Warground, 2 Anduin, and then I played Siren and the 4 Nightmons. That was when I played the game. I ended up taking out the Siren Moon, and I also took out the extra cute moon I was playing, and I added in just another Pulse Moon, and then I also added because I wasn't playing anymore. I also added in another War because of the high rise of Rookie Rush being everywhere. Plus, I also saw how much you can capitalize off Wargrowl. I think it's just really important to have that. Just lets you DP reduce, swing, do whatever you need to do. Pretty good. The Andrew Woman is actually really good at 2. The reason being is because if you can capitalize using War Greymon, you capitalize with Greymon, you literally get 2-card advantage every time you play it. So there's really no reason not to. I've also, triggering Lordknightmon plus Woman at the same time. It's just kind of ridiculous. Free value, free rookies, free bodies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty clutch in that regards. Then the reason why I took off the Siren, like I said, I wanted to switch to Wargrowl. I just felt that it was better. Rookie like I said, about going from math. Like usually you want to go from 4 to 8 to 12, or because all your math is usually in even numbers, except for your babies. They give you 1,000. So you kind of want to do math in even increments, just so you know. Especially because Rookie Rush plays the 5K increments, and they try to slow you down that way. They do that so that way you can't always pop their field. But since the deck is designed to be able to spread out as much damage as possible, DP reduction, it works in your favor for with the 1K babies plus the 4K disruption. So that's the reason why it's a good card altogether. And then Nightmon, so that's pretty easy. And then the champions are pretty straightforward. The only difference is 3 Unimon. I think that's becoming the trend now. It should be in there. I never not hated it. But I think one thing that players kind of misunderstand about the card is that even though to swing with it is -2 security, if you have a rookie underneath of it, not rookie, the baby underneath of it, that minuses 1,000 DP, whether it's Pikmon, whether it's, what's his name? It's okay, as long as you do enough math to destroy your opponent's field, because you never want to leave field presence up, especially in the mirror match. I know Juan mentioned it too about when you deal against certain matchups, if they have a field, you want to be able to move that field. Well, Pokemon playstyle is responding to what your opponent plays. You're never supposed to just rush in. You're not supposed to overcommit. You're not supposed to play your cards just to play your cards. It's kind of weird that way. So that's why the Unimon being able to use the blockers not just as blockers but actual attackers, even though you're losing the memory, is supposed to be the caveat with that. Now the interesting thing is the rookies. 4 Starmon is obligatory. You have to play it. It works with the deck. It's the whole synergy in that. The argument for Pulsemon, it can be at 3. I have played it at 3. I have been fine with it at 3. But I feel 4 is necessary for playing against Mirror Match. And the reason being is because you're going to usually leave something in Raising, and you want it to be completely rolled up to a Lord Knight, or you want it to be at least Warground stage. So that way you can do the Digiburst, do the Play to Evolve, do the Play to Attack, call a card out, DP reduce, do it again. Pretty much that's how it's rinse and repeat. But when you're trying to play rookies from your hand and you don't see them, or you don't draw enough cards to get to what you need, all you do is call out Postmons, draw cards, evolve up, and if they don't kill whatever's on your field, you just evolve up into it. So now you're responding there. So it's kind of funny, because then if they deal with one thing and they commit to killing your card on the field, then you just push up the Lordknightmon and then you wipe out their field. So it's kind of it has a lot of give and take type of thing with it. So that's why I kind of increased that. I played 4 Shagumons because the big thing about him is that he's a cost of 5. So that means that he can get ultimate flared. That's the most important thing against Security Rush. Against, if you want to close out games, that's what he's meant for. So it's usually meant for that reason. So even though I don't personally like having that many copies of it, it does help you close out games if you need it to happen. Most of the time I avoid it, but it's usually meant to just that suggestive thing with the deck. Another thing to note too was I believe it was the 1-ofs I had. I played 1 Lucamon. It's just generic healing's always good, especially against Rookie Rush. It matters. And plus, it's a house on its own. Literally 10K is a lot to deal with, especially early to late game. There's never really a bad time for Lucamon. Only issue is that you can't evolve on it. I didn't want to play more than that because if I did, I wouldn't be able to like evolve in my raising area, which is also a big thing too. So they compromised themselves with the one Patamon. Patamon's also relevant because it's a 4 cost to play, so it can't get Ultimate Flare, which many people did Ultimate Flare Lordknightmon, and they're like, oh, your rookie dies. I was like, actually, it's a 4, and then they're like, oh, it stays. And that was very relevant. The security players that did that, they're like, oh, your Digimon died. You know, they're all 4. And, like, you'll kill one of my Pulsemons, maybe a Starmon, but the rest of the field stays. It's actually really relevant. So I've had that come in handy, and also the biggest reason it's in there for is actually for green, because OTK green is very frustrating a lot, and if a good player gets everything, like talk about hidden potential, Blossomon, Nidhogg into stuff, or just ground Korog in your whole board, they can do it. And I always assume that my opponents have it all the time. I don't, mess around with that. So the Patamon actually does help you with that matchup a lot, especially with the Cutemon in tandem, because Cutemon, again, has the Digisorption, that's huge. Imperial Digimon is also huge. And it's literally meant to stop, like, the most freaking play you can possibly make against somebody. So being able to stop the hidden potential, the hidden Digimon evolution thing, that's actually super relevant too. In purple, so it just depends what you're doing. But overall, though, like, all the rookies kind of do something. And then people argue with Kotemon. Some say it's a good card, some say it's a bad card. I think it's perfectly fine the way it is. Some people play 2, some people play 3, 4 even. I feel 1 is correct as long as you know how to count cards in your deck and you know where all of your cards are technically at. Like if you TK, maybe security and there's no Lord Knights or Nightmons, and you're like, okay, call this guy, or I've drawn enough cards, I should see it in the probability of 5. More than often, you're going to see it. You just have to be aware of that. Just don't play it to play it. It's a great card, though. Definitely a great card. And then lastly was, like, the babies are easy for Pikmon and then 1 Koromon. All of them are good in all stages of the game. Anyone who says that babies don't matter, that's incorrect. I've had people perform first and then somebody in the game.
All babies matter.
What happened?
I said all babies matter, but I'm just joking.
Yeah, that's why Mimi's pro-choice for a reason. And that's the other thing too, is like with green, sometimes green could be your most difficult matchup because if they open up Mimi, it's just baiting on all the eggs. Once you bait all the eggs, usually you can play the game freely after. But like I said, all eggs matter, especially for this, and Koromon is especially because if they think it's not going to do anything, it's just going to be fodder for later that's going to do things. So that's super relevant. And the last thing is 3 TKs. Because I feel like that's absolutely necessary. The weird thing about Lordknightmon is that you do have to play it. Realize that you don't always see it. It sounds weird to say it that way, but memory choking is a thing. Not every matchup you can play it right away. Sometimes you're always going to draw it and never have the time to use it. That's also a thing. It sounds funny, but it's true. Right. And then the biggest thing that people probably notice in the deck too is I play 2 Blinding Ray, and Blinding Ray is it's a very good card, and especially cards that, like, if you have TK, you play Blinding Ray, you go to 5, and you can push you for game, it's relevant. If you need extra pieces to still evolve into a Lord Knight, evolve into a Slash, keep it memory, it's a very minimal thing, it's perfectly fine. So Blinding Ray is, especially because it's broken, if you have no security, you can just play him for free, basically. And it's highly valued. It's like, especially with the Angel, it turns them on when you want to, because not all the time their opponent's going to attack you. And it's just, again, it's being able to manipulate what you and how you want to play is really relevant. And then honestly, my favorite card in the deck is actually Kyrie, Purple Kyrie. So Purple Kyrie, the biggest reason it's in there is that it facilitates multiple things that you're trying to do. If you have it up already against Rookie Rush, if you keep Rookie Rush at 1, they basically call a rookie and pass. Pretty much it. Or they evolve into Re and then play a rookie, pass. So you don't care. Another thing is that it's against, if they have 2 and they play a rookie or they swing at you, you go and tap, you put them 1, then they have to play a rookie and their turn. So it's kind of like weird. It allows the image to be controlled in all stages of the game. And they're like, oh, I don't have as much memory now as I used to have. Especially if you play against the mirror match and Lordknightmon is swinging at you, because they evolve normally, go to Lord Knight, and then they're at 0. If they swing at you, you can use Kyrie to rest, and then therefore that your memory goes to 1, or if you have TK, it just goes to 3. And so the card they call off, they can't do anything. So it's like super relevant, like in a lot of ways. And the fun thing you do with it, it has Blinding Ray shenanigans. You take something off, gain 2 memory, rest Kyrie, gain another. It's 3. That's actually really impactful.
Busted.
And then, yeah, it's super relevant. And then also, what a lot of people forget about, and it happened a lot, I played TK after I had a Kyrie, and I was like, oh, TK's only 3, and they thought that it was their turn already. I was like, no, it's still my turn. And they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, Kyrie's going to give you the serious. I was like, yeah, that just keeps playing that way.
Yeah, I did that a lot with BT4 Mastermon deck. It's just like, go to 3 still? So my turn?
And I love having that. I have multiple Kyries up. That would be living the dream, but I only play one. So it's kind of like, but the deck was really well done. Like how it performed, I really liked it a lot. One thing to note is like Rookie Rush, people are always worried about it. Yellow has probably one of the best matchups against it, minus Security Control. And the reason being is because, as I said, you can spread as much damage as you can. I've had situations where, sometimes you do have to give them 7+ memory. You don't want to. Sometimes it happens. In my opinion, I don't think Rookie Rush is that great. I know a lot of people say it's one of the best decks. It's oppressive. And I can honestly say the only games I've ever lost against the deck were games where I couldn't play. That's honestly the only game I've ever lost. And I've never lost a match against the deck. So I know that it's beatable, and I know that it's manageable, especially with Yellow. Yellow's just like in that fine position where you're always threatening something on their field. Because I think even one point my opponent had like 4 or 5 Digimon, and then like in one turn I did War Growl. I popped something with, for his effect. I had Lord Knight, called out a card, minus 4k, popped something else. And then like I also had Pikmon, so it was minus 1,000. And then I was able to kill another card, and then Voldarm gave him 6, but I wiped his whole field off. You can literally do that in a single turn because of how much you're fluctuating your memory, how much you're fluctuating and everything. And you don't even need to like commit a lot. You could just, as long as you're wiping out their cards, you usually win the race because they're not evolving up, they're not gaining advantage other than calling out rookies. And in my opinion, the only way they win is if they draw 2 of the Spiral Masquerades and they draw nothing but rookies the entire game. That's the only way they win. Because that's just how the deck is designed. It's a glass cannon, and it just works that way. And like 4 or 5 turns, it's over, and that's usually how it is. It's not that bad of a matchup. But to go over the tournaments quickly, GMI was 5 rounds. That was exhausting. When we played against Yellow Mirror, he did not know how to play against the Yellow matchup, which is really rough. It does take a lot of experience to like deal with what they do. One concern he did was because he played double blinding ray in a single turn. He got greedy to turn off his Angelomon just so he could come up field. I didn't have anything committed. I wiped out his field, and then I actually beat him in that same turn because, again, Bushi Agumon's a card. So I triggered my Angelomon, plus my Lordknightmon, plus my calling my cards, and then just swung for game. And that was his fault, not mine. I even told him, I was like, you didn't even need to play the double blinding rays. He's like, well, I wasn't drawing anything. I'm like, well, you have communication because the matchup can't commit. Put all your eggs in one basket. Round 2 was against Black. I played Nick. One threatening thing about that deck is a rebooted Black Metal Garurumon. It's super annoying. Being 13k or 12k makes it super frustrating. You can't attack it. You have to have the appropriate cards to call over and delete it. It's super annoying. That one, 2-1. He beat me because I bricked. I didn't get any rookies for like 8 turns. It's really bad. But, yeah. I swung at his security also 3rd game, and he triggered double defeats in security, but I still gamed him in the same turn. So he's like, man, I wish those were earlier. I was like, well, dude, you're at 4 security, and I'm swinging at you with 6 attacks, so you should lose this turn. I was like, even if the ultimate player, oh my god, you're so good. And he's like, yeah, I know. And then 3rd round was, I think it was another Black deck. That one was just pretty straightforward. Just, I 2-0'd that matchup just because Lord Knight does Lord Knight stuff. He actually played Craniumon, which was pretty cool, but it got deleted first. That's the thing I had to worry about. Ring 4 was Rookie Rush, and that one went to 2-1 because I bricked. It's actually really odd that I bricked, but it was pretty fun the other way. And then round 5, I played against Brandon, and Brandon's super hard brick. And I was really he passed like 4 or 5 turns in a row.
Yeah. You can see that game too. It's all we just uploaded that game. I just watched it. It's like, oh, it hurts. It hurts so much. Just get to top, and then I remember later on that he was talking to me. Brandon was like, bro, I went from like 2nd down to like 3rd or 4th because of that one loss.
Yeah, I even told him, I was like, dude, I said, like, because he gave me like 8 memory turn 1 with War Growl, and I was like, are you serious? He's like, it's all I got. I'm like, don't do that. And then he played War Growl or War Greymon for like 12. He's like, why? You do know this is bad, right? Like super bad. You're gonna let me like my ending board? I think it's like 2 Lordknightmons, and then like a Slash, and then like 4 rookies evolved. It was terrible. Like I was like, oh dude, I feel so bad for you. So that one, and I won that one. So I got the store championship for GMI, which is very thankful for. Love that store. They appreciate all the things they're doing for us, especially during the times and a lot of the difficulties they've been having now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that store too.
This is in Upland, right?
No. That's Gameology. This one's in Riverside.
Oh, Riverside. Oh, that's far.
Yeah. So that was the first one I won, and then the second one was at Gameology, and the first round one I played against Green. It was thankfully that the whole event was only 4 rounds because I was tired after that whole Tuesday we played, and then I played against Green. I just had to bait out his Mimis because he got Mimi every game, and every first every first security check was Nidhogg. So my Lord Knight always died the first swing. I was like, you're super good. I was like, I can't deal with it, but it didn't matter because I always cleared his field, and what I did is he kept forgetting, but I knew either you forget or you don't. I never assume. So I always made sure to delete all of his green Digimon. So when he had his Chaosmon up, he tried to use Mimi, and I'm like, no, it's not a green Digimon. And he's like, what? As a Mimi only works with green. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, I play green too, so like I can't not know what your deck does. So he's like, oh yeah, you're right. That's why he deleted all the Digimon. I was like, that's the best way to approach the deck. He's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It wasn't bad. I only won that one because, like I said, I think green has a very difficult matchup versus pretty much yellow, but I think yellow also has a difficult matchup versus it. And you also have to like count mid-hogs. You also have to be aware if they're playing Volderharm or they're playing regular Chaos. Because if they're playing Volderharm, you're like, okay, you're not going to lethal threaten me every game. If you're playing regular Chaosmon, you're going to actually lethal me. You're going to try to do that every single time. So once you know what they're doing, it's actually pretty easy to figure out that matchup. So because he was playing Volderharm, I was like, okay, I don't care about Patamon. I don't care about these other cards. You're just going to try to establish a field. I can kill the field. That's fine. You know what I mean? It's usually how it works. And then in round 2, I played against Lordknightmon. It was Sean. Mm-hmm. Sean doesn't know how to play a mirror match. I was surprised, and I was like, "Have you been playing it for how long, Sean?" He goes, "This is actually my first Lord Knight mirror." I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, because nobody at Gameology actually plays Lord Knight. He's the only one that plays Lord Knight there, if I'm correctly.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to everybody is that it has a learning curve. I know that some people think the deck's really ooga but it also matters if your opponent's playing. If you don't know what they're playing, like tech choice wise, or how many card quantities, it makes a huge difference. A lot of people don't realize that. So Sean actually beat him because of Kyrie. He actually did the Lordknightmon, swung, and then I Kyried, and he's like, oh fuck, I can't do anything. I was like, yeah, that's just the result of it. So it was just being able to out-tempo him, and he promoted early before I did, and I was confused why he did that. And in my security, he hit both TK and he hit Kyrie, and it was just like game from that point on. Oh, and I didn't tell him. I'm surprised he even hit me. I was like, I didn't even expect him to do that. So that was that one of those 2-0. And then round 3, I played against Purple, and that was fun because I actually haven't played against Purple ever in a tournament. I always feel bad for it because it bricks. I feel like that deck is super amazing. When it bricks, it builds a mountain. You know what I mean? That's how much it does. And it's Lilith Loop, but what I loved about it is that he was playing Biezelmon in it. And I'm a big fan of it. I'm a super big fan of it because you're just popping like the level 4s out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, you're doing that now. And he was playing the 6-cost option that deletes a suspended level 6. I was just like, oh, Hell's Gate. He was playing Hell's Gate, yeah. So I was like, damn, that's actually pretty cool. So I actually was and I was thrown off because he was playing Millenniumon too. Like, he was playing a lot of removal, like what Purple's known for. So I was like, okay, I have to respect what you're doing. I can't just say, oh, you're looping me, which was a good idea because
actually, you're looping me? Dang, that sucks.
Well, he looped me and I decked him out.
Oh shoot!
So he actually got the loop off, but then he's like, "Oh, I don't have another Omnimon." I said, "Yes, because it's on the top of your deck." And he's like, "Dang." I was like, "Let me just summon Starmon to pop your Impmon to mill you out." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
That was pretty good. And he was like, "That's a good game." So game 2, I felt bad. He bricked. Lady David gave me 8 memory. I wiped out his Lady David turn 1. It was pretty sad. And then I had like double Lordknightmon, War Greymon, all that. Like by the end of that game, I felt really bad just because he hard played 3 ultimates, and I felt really bad. I was like, I know, feel that. And then last round, I played against Steven. He was playing blue-green Rookie Rush, and unfortunately, which is one thing I have a big gripe about, is that you can't pass down your invites. Savannah has like a big thing about that, which I think it's not that fair. So, we had to like play it out, which was fine. But because the good guy, I was like, you know what? I'm not here for that, so you can get the invite. So I did play him, like 2 of them. It's literally blue-green Ricky Rush does nothing against yellow. It's unfortunate, but it's okay. I'd rather have newer players go to nationals than me just say, oh, okay, I'm just going to take it from everybody, which doesn't seem fun at all. You know what I mean? Because we want people to actually play. But, the Steven didn't win another one, so I was happy about that. I was like, okay, he actually got one. He had a cool trophy out of it, too, so I was pretty jealous.
Yeah, that's the one I went on. My third... No, it was my last one that I went to. Was Game Boy Paradise, which is a really cool store. It's a new pop-up store that just popped up last year.
Yeah, I didn't know about it, and I was like, oh, I may have been able to go out to it, but I was like, that's fine, whatever, and stuff like that. So then I went out to another store in LA. I actually forgot. I went to like 2 stores out in LA that I didn't know. One of them was new. Another one I was like, my friend signed me up for, and I was like, okay, play Lord Knight for those. I won both of those, so that was perfectly fine. Lordknightmon, just like I said, I made the tech choices and switched over and stuff like that. And then so I won 3 so far, and then GMI had theirs again on Tuesday. I played one again. And that one, I played 3 yellow decks, and then I played 2 Rookie Rush decks. And my only game I lost was to one of the Rookie Rush players because I didn't draw a rookie for 7 turns. So I killed everybody, including all the yellow mirror matches. So I was like, okay. And again, I don't need the invite, so that's why What's Name gets the invite. So, like I said, I'd rather shoot myself in the foot for that and let other people play. But overall, though, it was good. Like I said, I won multiple championships with it, and it's fun. Those make a little broken deck. But I do feel like in the hands of a good player and the amount of experience you have, not only with your deck, but playing against people, you have to be able to respect the colors and what they do. So, and then Steven ended up doing my exact list for the event, and that's how he won that one. Yeah, so just letting you know, he got that spice and all that from me. And he did realize he was actually very good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, if anybody had any questions about the deck, just, be free to message it.
Okay. I think that's it for our kind of like tournaments. Yeah, I mean, it's been like quite some time. There was a lot of in-store tournaments for us, so like I'm happy that like you got a lot of the guys from GMIs won a lot, and the other guys I really respect over there. I'm trying to still get one. Unfortunately, I'm just always like.
Are they doing more in November? I heard something about November. They're going to do more.
I think they are. Maybe, hopefully so. Like that just lets me at least know that I can grind it a little bit more.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too. Because January, beginning of next year, like Nationals isn't until like spring, so I'm more than likely they're going to have more events. There'd be no reason for them not. You know what I mean? Yeah, especially with all the Evo Cups and everything that going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's us for at least our tournament results for our in-store championships, right? So I think the next topic we actually wanted to go to is this is still a fairly hot topic right now, which is unfortunately the delays that are happening right now. We are gonna BT6 is gonna be delayed for a little bit until what, December, right?
Unfortunately,
was it December?
I kind of enjoy playing this format. I think personally, having sets come out every 2 months is just, it's like the fast track. Like, I know I live in LA and all, but I'm not trying to speed down the highway. I want to enjoy. But maybe I'm the only one who thinks that way. Maybe everybody wants to play Alphamon, because I love Alphamon. Or the Three Musketeers, or whatever else is going on set.
Rob, is it postponed to December or is it November? Because I know October was the original date of it.
I think it might be November. I might be wrong. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I know that the EX set is supposed to come out in December, but from what I heard, that might also get postponed too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people want to go immediately to BT6 and then just 1 month of BT6 into a month of EX into a month of, because I think February, February was supposed to be slated for BT7 for us. So I don't think people want to do 1 month the format. That's kind of a little bit too crazy, but
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, but for me personally, while it does suck that we do have this delay, I actually agree with Juan here. Is I actually want to play this meta a little bit more, because I feel like even with this meta, it's still kind of unsolved, right? There's so for example, right? Just Black Turbo Omni just popped up out of nowhere in this meta. It's just oh, this is a good deck now, and I feel like this format right now is super it's super balanced. Sure, Lordknightmon is still probably the top deck right now, but there's so many diversity in other decks right now in colors that can be played right now, and then I feel like there might be some deck that still might be hidden, and with us delay, it might let us see, oh, this might actually crop back up now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, one thing that we're talking about in the cast is I am of the opinion that there's a lot of underrated cards. I was talking to Ann about this, and I kind of was before James topped with the Turbo Omni Black deck, everyone was all black is not good this, because yellow's so good, and yellow destroys black. And then this guy kind of has this deck idea. How do I beat yellow? Rely on the Tamer, so delete the Tamer. And defeat's also an annoying card for the to get rid of it most of the time. So, you just think of that concept alone, right? And you apply it with other decks. People also said, oh yeah, Hexablau's now top Oceania with it. So, while these decks aren't tier 1 broken compared to Crusadermon, and again, I am of the opinion Crusadermon is very good because I think it's very consistent in finding what you want, right? There's just so many cards that allow you to find the pieces that you're looking for. And other decks don't have that sort of consistency. But what the deck tries to do is very busted. If you can find your pieces for the Black Meta Greymon, or for Blue Hexablau, or Shoutmon, or any of your decks, you could win a lot of matches very quickly. But the thing about Crusadermon is that deck alone has many outs and of many ways to find pieces, and Pulsemon is just a very versatile card. And they have Bushiagumon, so they have more consistency, but they're not unbeatable. And so part of it is when you're deck building, the current card pool allows you to be more creative with a lot of cards. There's a Megazoo deck that wasn't black, red, yellow. It was yellow, blue. It was literally black, blue, yellow Megazoo, right? And play 4 Kakaida's Breath and other stuff. There's just a lot of cool cards. If you're trying to play in this format and you're trying to figure out how do I beat a chance against yellow or Yellow Crusadermon, you play Time Mat. Time Mat's a very good card to allow you to push back against it, because a lot of time Crusadermon does survive once it stays on board. If it stays on board, it allows you to push back with a bunch of memory. The one thing you don't want to happen when you're playing against Crusadermon is they delete all your stuff efficiently, and they leave you at 3 memory with no board, right? People are saying he likes to clear boards. So if they're clearing your board, you want to be able to make a pushback for the following turn, and Time Out let you do that. Sora and Joe let you do that. You start off, a lot of times I'm playing against Yellow, for example, right? They will delete my board. But when they do, I'm starting off with like 7 or 8 members. So, yes, I lost my board, but I could make. So, that being said, you can play a lot of decks in this format. The deck, though I would say technically solved in that yellow is definitely the best deck to play. There's different things you can do to be able to fight back against it. And, James winning that tournament, the Hexablau dude winning that Oceania tournament, that Mega Zoo, there's a bunch of, if you look online, there's tons of different deck lists that's out. Is Crusadermon the more consistent one up there? Yes. But does it mean you have to play yellow to win? Not necessarily. And it's just a matter of knowing what your deck does and knowing how to beat and what your opponent's deck does, knowing how, not just capitalize on what cards are on the board at a given time, but also knowing what your win condition is. And sometimes when people play the matches, they don't know what the win con is. They just play cards as they come into their hand. And so, but it does take a little bit more of using your noggin. For that reason, I think this format right now is like super cool, super fun. But I think I said that with every. BT4 was the most boring format to me. But aside from that, like, the card pool is exhausted. There's a lot of cool things you can play. Some are better than others, and every color kind of has a way to deal with certain cards in this meta. And again, maybe not as consistent as other decks in finding those pieces, but like they are playable. And I kind of don't mind extending the release date of the future sets, because if each set's coming out every 2 months, right? Like by the time you buy all the cards to build your deck, the new set just came out. So now you got to buy all those cards. Unless you're a millionaire like Sakabato over here and buy. But
And stuff too. It's hard.
And he has store points. So you know what? As soon as day 1 drops, these two gentlemen already have full-powered, high rarity, nice sleeves, dragon shields, with and Pete's playing Digimon. I'm pretty sure he comes with a TI-84 calculator with the dice in the middle, and he has the spell grounds that they're ready to play with these new. Let us have time to play the turn.
I took a calculus class already. I have no reason to use that anymore. I was tired of math. I hate it.
Every regional you went to, though, when it got real is when the guy he has all the pins lined up, and he pulls out the case, and you're like, oh, this is trying to win.
Yeah.
And
I got a better one for you, okay? One of the nationals I went to, okay, I shit you not, it's a short little story, but it's awesome. Okay. I went to play against this guy who, they go to the rounds and everything. So I go to sit down. Before I sit down, though, I look at the table. This is my opponent, by the way. On his table alone, just where he's sitting, he has at least 10 mats stacked on top of each other. It's gonna get better. Okay, he's building a foundation. Okay, he's building a foundation. He's got his decks and everything, and he has dice in increasing size. And I'm talking about the big ass one where you can knock someone out with a rock type of dice. He then has lizards of little dinosaur figures all throughout the mat. Okay, his top mat also has all the pins and everything, and different things, anime stuff, all this, whatever. He also has a picture of himself as a token. He has a magic dial-up. He's got a magic dial-up. Okay, so you want to go into turns or whatever. Like I said, dice and everything. And you know what deck he was playing?
Let's hear it.
Final Countdown Burn.
Oh, you guys super try hard. Oh, wow. I guess it's nationals, right? You're not trying to make friends at nationals, but we got a little one that we hate them.
It's okay, though. I played X-Sabers. I hand-looped him, so he had no hand. So it made it easier that way. But it was disgusting, though. But to go back on topic, I have, mixed feelings about the delay. As I do like the fact that it is a lot of money, honestly, for just any player, including myself. I can't say that I'm happy to dish out money. I mean, I just paid for over $5,000 in tuition. It's not fun. You know what I mean? Putting out any type of money is never fun like that.
Sure, that's cool. That sounds fun.
No. It's just classes. That's exhausting. But it's good to have a little bit of break because it does get players and individuals more familiar with what's in the game right now. So they, oh, I got all this, now really look for something else. I do feel that there's also like, some conflictions about it though, because honestly, I am kind of bored in a sense of this format, and the only reason why is because the card pool is actually not big enough as I would like it to be. And I think that does take time, that does take a little bit, because, you know, like you said, yellow is very overpowered in a sense, because it actually has some of the best rookies in the game. Like, every rookie does something or facilitates something to get you somewhere. They literally just have the worst level 4s in the game, because all they have is vanillas and blockers. That's it. Whereas every other color is like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I can share with everybody, you know? But yellow has a good game in all states of the game if it needs to be. You only lose when you just can't play your cards, obviously.
Right.
It has a lot of good resources. Actually, it's probably one of the best colors in the game, just because its rookies as well as its ultimates are all very powerful in like what they do. Like with red is really weird right now. It's bad. It just doesn't have enough. Like Shoutmon is threatening, but you're talking about everything else that's put into him. So like hopefully he survives life and then does whatever he needs to do. Black has a lot of good utility cards, but the deck still feels like it's missing something. You know what I mean? Like I've played with Reboot Black. It's super fun. A lot of people are threatened by defeat. You should never be threatened by defeat. It's like, okay, you don't kill my Digimon in battle. Cool, you know, that's fine. If I pop it and kill it by battle or something, you're going to kill one of my guys. Okay, that's a cost for it. But you have to deal with that. You have to accept that if you're playing against that color, they're going to get to do what they want to do, but you should know that you can do what you need to do. So you have to like look at that. That's why Hexablau, you have to respect the card because it can take your entire threshold of your opponent's cards away from them. Taking away the inheritables is super relevant in this game because, oh look, I can't play with what I was doing before, or I can't think ahead, and that plays like a big part. And then if you look at purple has really strong cards. They're really good, but they're missing something for like consistency. They're missing being able to draw and filter. I think that's like purple's biggest issue. It's filtering. And as the next sets come out, you're going to start seeing filtering. And I think that's like there's a lot of incomplete ideas in every single color, which I think that's why you can't like mix and match too much. You kind of still have to cater to the whatever your local metagame is or whatever the most representation, because that's what yellow does well. It has high representation. Doesn't mean that every player is broken or every player is bad. It just means that the representation is being shown more. Core TCG, yellow was very prominent. Green was like one or two different ones that you could see. Security control was a little bit lower. Blue was popping up here and there because there are certain colors that can actually do something compared to other colors. And that's why, like with Shoutmon, most people don't know what Shoutmon does. They don't know it stops 5k against blockers, and they forget about that. And it's actually what pushes them a lot. Like people lose because they don't know what other colors do. Which right. I argue for and against online play. I understand because it's healthy to still promote the game, but I tell you right now, the game will change drastically when there's more in-person events because it's more. There's more playing to see the interactions because it is very different online than it is in person.
It is,
and I also feel. I know this is you have to give your opponent the benefit of the doubt.
Hell no!
I know. But my belief, though, is that if you're playing a card game, your opponent, with any type of, technicality or whatever, should always be the last one that touches your deck. Because that's 100% confirming that I didn't touch it, so you can't accuse me of cheating. And online, it's very easy to manipulate that type of thing and stuff. I'm not saying that it is. I would not say, don't play online anymore, because that would be ridiculous to say. My thing is that for me, as a player who has played in person, has played online, I prefer in person because there is a level of honesty that can be a little bit alleviated between both players, if that makes any sense. And it's very hard to kind of like map it out that way.
I agree. And essentially, for all the viewers, what you're essentially saying is everyone online could obviously have a sleight of hand and kind of take advantage of that's on camera. And I am with you on that because I feel like when I play on more often than not, security's more broken. Like it just, but I'm just gonna let that be a superstition in my head, and obviously give the benefit of the doubt. Person, shuffle the deck fairly, whatever. But I do agree. I feel like sometimes when I play online, like it matches seem a little bit hard, but not necessarily like a lot of the games. Most of the time, I bet you like security being busted. I'm not talking about security control because Hexablau, surprisingly enough, again, it's like it has a good matchup spread. And one thing about is that for them to put pressure on your board against you, they have to give you a lot of memory because stuff is naked Digimon sources. But I also expect that most of my Digimon will die against security. So against other decks, like when I play other decks, not security control online, it feels like I'm playing against a security control deck. But this time I'm fighting Lordknightmon, but the security is like TK, Chaos Mons, and just a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, all right, let's go to game 2. And then game 2 starts, and like, I don't know what happened. I attack, and on the first security TK, and then I'm like, all right. Or the TK then adds a blinding ray from their stack to their hand, and I'm like, all right, cool. Not part of the game, but no, I prefer off.
And again, it's all that RNG stuff, you know what I mean? And I do feel like once we get a bigger card pool, it'll be important for the game because it'll allow, like you said, the deck building diversity, but that only happens over time. And, like Black, it's getting more stuff every single set. And it's getting little, bits of things here and there that really do expand what the color's capable of doing. Because I feel each color in the game should be able to do something more uniquely and more diversely different than the other colors. Because, you're playing purple, you want to delete things, you want to be able to use your trash, there's a lot of, like, resource management in that. Right. And the same thing like for blue, like I think it's like a color identity. I think that's the best way to put it. Magic always puts it by color identity. And color identity is really important because it allows certain decks as well as certain cards to be more relevant as time goes on. Because as more and more that we're getting out for Digimon, set 1 and set 2 stuff is becoming more and more relevant. And which is good. That's good. You know what I mean? Magna Angemon, Seraphimon, Magnadramon, like all of those cards or yellow, of course, it's because they're good, but over each single set release that comes out, certain cards only become more flavored over the difference. And that's why like blue, yellow, like they have stuff. You look at red is getting better because now it's getting an engine base for it, Jessmon and all that stuff. And the way, like I said, black. And, it is hard though because do you go for consistency or do you play a deck that is just trying to play a specific Digimon? You know what I mean? There's just like levels of thinking in that you have to go with it. And it helps that, but like everybody's worried about cost. Like I get that. Paying in for every single month, 2 months, new set, including promo shops. Right now everybody's not able to always do open events. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? And I feel like what they're trying to do is just catch up with Japan. That's the biggest. And I think that once we do catch up to Japan, it'll be like releases will happen at the same time, which I think that's what'll be the diversity that we need. That's going to be the level of, okay, now you got to actually think how to build it. Because honestly, most people do cookie cutter. Yeah. That's the reason why Black was misjudged. They're like, oh, it's not good. But Black has a lot of good cards. You know what I mean? It is a tall deck. It doesn't go very wide, but you have to answer the tall deck. That's the point of it. You know what I mean? And the difference between him and Shoutmon, like Black and Shoutmon, is that defeat is a cheaper Omnimon, and also says, "Hey, you do something to me, I do something to you," which a lot of players are not used to in the game. That's why security control is kind of an overpowered mechanic in a sense because it does things in the Digimon game that you're not supposed to do normally, and that is just because of the. And that's why every set is important. Because, like, I want to play a different color. I've been playing yellow, like I said, for past few months. I played it with Shine, and I enjoy the color. But I love playing all colors. I think Hexablau is one of my favorite. I personally like that deck a lot. Purple Lilith Loop is fun. I actually want to try the Press Garuru OTK again, which is actually pretty fun to do. I enjoy Green a lot. Tentomon's my favorite Digimon, and I'm not even playing a deck that's playing him right now, and I'm kind of sad about that. So if I play Green, yeah, but...
He needs to be in another color, to be honest. Tentomon needs to be in another color besides green. He's only been in green, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, and out of all of the Digi-Delays ones, he has the least amount of cards. Oh. Because he only has 2 prints. He has 2 prints. Palmon has Omamon has more prints. Gabumon has more prints. What? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it's really bad, but I mean, shit, even Patamon is in blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Salamon has more printings than Tentomon, actually, thinking about it. Tentomon has 2, Salamon has like 4, right? Printings.
Yeah, plus the vanilla, plus the alternate. Yeah, they just get more. And that's what I'm saying is that once we get a bigger card pool, it'll be better. But the delays, the whole situation with everything going online, the whole pandemic is it shifts a lot of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh's a delay right now, too. We get product now in waves. We don't get product in, 50 cases. No, you're going to get 5. It's a huge drastic thing. You're going to get 5 in, like, 3 waves. Okay. You got to do what you got to do. You can't worry about it. Pokemon's facing the same thing. Every distribution is, like, really bad. Yu-Gi-Oh's getting everything. They're going to get it in this month. So, like, literally this week, they get it. We're just shafted on it.
Okay. Well, how about this? How are we doing on time right now, Rob?
We're about a minute, hour 20 in, so
you want to just end it here, and then we can save the other topics next time. I think this has been a long.
I think it's been a really good, productive kind of like stream right now, or technically podcasters right now. I think we've been really good, but again, shout outs to Pete Navarro for coming out with us to be on this podcast. It was actually really fun listening to your ideas, especially since you come from like a really good background of TCGs, and having like another person just on here to like have good discussions. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's actually really nice to talk to people about, the hobbies that you enjoy. You know what I mean? So
exactly, yeah.
I appreciate any feedback and everything, guys, because it's, like I said, it's a pleasure to play with you guys as well. See you guys again. It's a mutual thing, It's good to see everybody like that.
All right. So, Pete, if people want to get to know you more, how can they find you? Where can they reach out?
Currently, I'm doing stuff with the business. I don't have, like, everything up yet. I mean, if you just Pete Navarro on Facebook, if you ever want to add me, I'm usually really open about like talking to people and stuff like that. So, kind of come to territory with the business and stuff like that. And then that way, if you guys ever need stuff for Digimon, I'm always available. I always get cases of stuff to open. And if people need singles, it's fine. I always take care of everybody. So,
all right. So you heard it here first, folks. Pete Navarro, thanks for coming on. Whenever he has stuff set up, we'll post a link on our channel. And hopefully we'll have you future podcasts. Well, in fact, we could replace Sakabato with you.
Oh no! Yeah, you can replace me. I can never win anything, so yeah, that's fine. I'm not winning anything anyways, guys.
Yeah, I didn't win anything either, but you know what? Pete, you gotta kick someone out, Rob, and it can't be me.
Okay. Everybody gets their day, okay? So he may not be doing well today, but tomorrow he might even be the champion for all I know.
We'll see tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see tomorrow.
He's going to go undefeated the next 4 weeks. Watch. He's going to be like, all right, after that you better win the tournament with every color, Rob, and then and then we can win the channel. We just finished.
Become a motivational speaker. That's what'll happen.
Oh yeah, totally. But again, thanks to all you guys for coming out here again. Hopefully, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, just let us know. Leave it in the comments like what you guys want to hear about next. Kind of, if you guys want more deck techs, kind of like more on what we showed out for today, especially for the in-store tournaments that we all played in. Let us know. I'm always willing to post more stuff. If you guys want to see more tournaments, let us know as well. Just give us as much suggestions as possible so we can continue give out content for all the Digimon players out there. So, again, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.